Good evening. A losing hand tonight for mobsters in a video poker scheme, and the state says it means organized crime has been brought to its knees.
An Ocean County jury has convicted 4 reputed members of the Lucchese organized crime family of extortion and racketeering. One was also found guilty of murder, while the 5th defendant was acquitted of all charges. Margie Smith reports today's decision follows 10 hours of deliberations over a 4-day period.
And the Accetturo verdict is guilty. Martin Taccetta verdict is guilty. Thomas Ricciardi verdict is guilty. Martin Taccetta verdict is guilty.
The 4 men prosecutors say are made members of the mob were all convicted of extortion and racketeering for trying to take over a video poker machine company. Anthony Accetturo was found guilty of being the capo, the leader of the New Jersey faction of the Lucchese organized crime family. Thomas Ricciardi was also found guilty of murdering Toms River businessman Vincent Crapparata in 1984 by beating him to death with a golf club. 2 other defendants charged in the killing were found not guilty of murder, including Michael Ryan, who was acquitted on all charges. Ryan was the only defendant who was not believed to be a made mob member. Prosecutors are calling the split verdict a victory.
There were many years, almost a decade of work that went into bringing this case forward. We believe that it'll deal a crippling blow to the Lucchese crime family in New Jersey.
But the verdict was great. Really happy about it. Like I said, I feel sorry for their wives and their children because they're going to suffer.
The 4 convicted mobsters were handcuffed and sent to the Ocean County Jail without bail. Ryan walked out of the courthouse free, but refused to comment on the verdict. His attorney says Ryan was happy with his acquittal, but upset that his friends were convicted.
In order to convict them, this jury had to believe Philip Leonetti, and we know what his background is. And I am just amazed that they accepted the testimony of the heinous murderer who's being supported by our government.
Phil Leonetti, seen on the left in this file tape, is an admitted former mob hitman who's now an informant in the federal witness protection program. His testimony about the inner workings of the mob was crucial to the state's case. Accetturo, Ricciardi, and the Tacettas all face jail time ranging from 10 years to life in prison. They will be sentenced October 7th. Margie Smith, NJNN News at the Ocean County Courthouse in Toms River.
With us now to discuss the ramifications of today's verdict is New Jersey State Attorney General Robert Del Tufo. General, thanks for being with us again.
My pleasure.
You said today that this has knocked organized crime in New Jersey on its knees. Is there any chance of knocking it on its feet, off its feet?
Oh, I don't think we should ever become that complacent. Wherever there's a buck to be made, there'll be organized crime trying to cash in. But I'll tell you, the war is still going on, but some mortal blows have really been dealt organized crime in the past few years. And this verdict today is much appreciated because it really strikes at the heart of the Lucchese crime family here in New Jersey.
And there are 2 other families that have been hit hard in the years prior.
Well, there actually have been 3. There's the Lucchese family, and 4 very high-ranking people, including the alleged head of the family here in New Jersey, were convicted today.
It was DeCavalcanti and Gambino. And
DeCavalcanti was the Riggi conviction. That's both state and federal. The Gambino family was Bisaccia. That was the trial in Essex County that went on forever and finally ended in a verdict that convicted Bisaccia and 6 other high-ranking Gambino people. And the Scarfo trial, that was a federal case with assistance from state informers as people who were testifying as witnesses, and that Scarfo is gone for just about life.
Well, Phil Leonetti, who was obviously instrumental in that, is in the Federal Witness Protection Program and testifying. A lot testified in this trial in Toms River, so there's a lot of cooperation then between the federal government and the state government on this.
Yes, and I think that, I couldn't emphasize more the importance of the Witness Protection Program to make these kinds of witnesses available, people who are on the inside. And I'd also like to acknowledge the cooperation of the Federal Bureau of Investigation in the prosecution that ended today.
Anthony Accetturo was convicted as, in addition to racketeering conspiracy, with being the leader of the organized crime family in New Jersey in this case. There are some skeptics who say as soon as these guys move out, somebody else comes in. How does that work?
Well, there always are some younger, ambitious people who are trying to move into these positions of power, and that's why we can't be complacent. We really have to keep up the pressure. But I'll tell you, both state and federal law enforcement over the past 10 years and very recently in the last 3 or 4 years have been just so effective in trying to deal with traditional organized crime that it's got to take its toll, thank God, for the benefit of the people of the state. Now, we have to be mindful of those other people you're talking about, Steve, and also about other kinds of organized crime, the ethnic groups, the drug networks and the like. But for traditional organized crime, this is a great victory.
Is there a next step that comes? Is it like a domino theory with this, that with these people now, some of them might start singing?
Well, I wouldn't want to speculate on that, but it would be fine if they did. You know, I should mention that with the Scarfo family, over the past 3 or 4 years, 85 members of that family have either been convicted or are now under indictment. So that'll give you some idea of the magnitude of the strikes which have been undertaken.
You haven't heard anything new about the John Stanfa mob in this particular time, with all that was going on in Philadelphia with the hit on Cinglini and all that?
We're always interested in pursuing organized crime targets, and if there's activity in South Jersey, we'll keep after it.
Very good. General, thanks for being with us
My
again.
pleasure. Thank you.
State Attorney General Robert Del Tufo. Kent?
More arrests today in the so-called Red Daisy case involving bootleg gasoline scams. Federal agents rounded up 3 suspected mobsters today, charging they extorted money from Russian immigrants running the scam operation. U.S. Attorney Faith Hochberg says the case is about crime on crime. The Russian immigrants make millions by evading taxes. Hochberg says the alleged mobsters, 2 who are said to have ties to the Genovese crime family, formed a cartel and forced the Russians to pay mob tribute. Dozens of Russians and mobsters have already pleaded guilty or been convicted. The scams have cost the government hundreds of millions of dollars.